Awesome. Thank you to all the plants in the audience. You guys were great too. Give it up for them. Yeah, they were great. Awesome, man. We're going to continue the show. You guys ready for a couple more? Awesome. Your next speaker, inspirational guy. He's an ex-military veteran. He's been working for himself since 2007, and last month he banked over $42,000. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Mr. Mike Hobbs, everybody. Give it up for him. Mike.
Wow. This is awesome. This is awesome. You know, I saw Dave say, get money. Everyone say, get money. I want everyone to do that because I just want to see how that feels. So if you're excited about Empower Network, yell, get money. Awesome. You know, I never would have thought I would be on stage with 5,000 people when I joined Empower Network, you know, a year ago. This has definitely been a blessing to my life. And that brings me, you know, I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am, you know, my background, because I'm a real religious guy. You know, we have the Daves come up here. We have other people, or Tony Rush doesn't believe in that, right? But I am a religious guy. And the cool thing about, yeah. The cool thing about Empower Network, the cool thing is you can be whoever you want to be. You can be religious, you can be not religious, you can do what you want, and that's what I truly feel, you know, we should all be like. We should accept everybody, because, you know, Jesus, you know, you guys always know, he doesn't judge people like David said, but I'm a religious guy, you know. I'm actually Mormon, by the way. And we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't commit adultery, we don't sleep before we're married, we, you know, don't even drink caffeine, you know. So the 9:30 party tonight is probably not for me, right? But we'll be there just to network and hang out with all you guys. It's a wonderful company. But the reason I tell you that, the reason I tell you this is because, you know, I was actually in the breakout room with my daughter. I don't know if she's in the crowd right there. And she was like making fun of my smile. She was like, he smiles crooked, he smiles crooked. And she was like telling everybody this, you know, she was his smile is crooked, it's from the military. And I'm like, and I was like, no, it's actually not from the military. And I'm actually going to share why my smile is crooked here for a second. I've never shared this with anybody. My wife is the only person who knows this story. And the reason it's crooked is because in 2009, we literally, you know, when you say people struggle, I don't even think that you can explain my situation at that point. You know, we owned a house. We were 4 months behind on the mortgage. We had to borrow, you know, money from my mother-in-law's mom. She's actually here right now, which we were never able to pay back because she passed away. I feel bad about that. You know, just to catch up on our mortgage, we lost that house, foreclosure. You know, and we just racked up the debt. We racked up the debt. I was so committed to making the business work. I did not want to work for somebody else. You know, I wanted to be my own boss. People said, go back to school, get a job. And, you know, I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I knew that's not what I wanted to do. Not only did we go into debt, you know, we had to move to a crappy apartment. We didn't have money for food. We actually literally had a food order from our church. They came over, most embarrassing thing ever. Went to our bishop. They had to pay for our utility bills. They had to pay for our Verizon bill because we couldn't pay that. They couldn't pay for our mortgage because, you know, you can't do that. But it really was a trying time in my life. So we were so stressed out. You know, we were literally stressed to to the bone. I mean, you couldn't get more stressed than that. I actually got to the point, and the reason I brought up religion is because one day my wife came up to me, and she's like, let's go to church. And I was so stressed, broke, didn't have money, lost our house, and I didn't know who to blame, so I blamed God. I blamed my sponsor. I blamed everybody in my life. I kind of lost all, I really didn't want to live at that point. I was very, very frustrated, very, very stressed. And I told my wife, I'm not going to church. You go by yourself. I'm not going. If he really loved us, he wouldn't put us in this situation. And that was really hard for me because that's my life. We were married in the temple. And, that was my life. And I blamed him. And you know what? I woke up the next morning, and my face was completely paralyzed. Bell's palsy. And because of the stress, the doctor said it was from stress. But you know what I really believe it was? I believe it was our God slapped me in the face, and he said, take responsibility for your life. You are responsible for your failures. You are responsible for your success. It's not my fault. It's not your wife's fault. It's not anybody's fault but you. And when I really realized I needed to take responsibility for my actions, my struggles, where I was, I made it happen. And I'm so glad he didn't punch me in the face. But yeah, I got it back mostly. You can tell I'm smiling sometimes. So I'm not smirking at you. When we're in pictures. But I tell you that story because it was a real big impact on my life, and I can go on and on about how much money we're making now and all the success that we're having. But you know what really makes me happy? When I see my team succeed. I've been holding a daily webinar every day for a year. And at first, nobody was succeeding, just like normal. I kept plugging them in. Dave and Dave said, do the 8 core commitments. Guess what I made my daily assignment? The 8 core commitments. I just reworded it a little bit different to kind of trick them. But trick them into doing it. But they did it. And you know what? I had the privilege of sponsoring people like Kevin Souza, I don't know where you're at, where he met his brother that he never knew he had from a blog post. I had the privilege of sponsoring someone named Robert Brown. I don't know where you're at, Robert. I met him in San Diego. He was at the $25 level. It's a $25 level. I shook his hand, and he just had this passion. He had this belief in his eyes, and I believed in him that he can make it happen. And not only is he all in now, he had $11,000 a month 4 months later in his business. He sponsored a guy named Travis Holder, who had an $8,000 month just last month, and he quit his job. Travis sponsored a guy 5 months ago, John Penberthy, $35,000 in February. And these are short periods of time. This is 4 or 5 months into the business. What did they do? They plugged into our daily action plan, which I got from Dave. They plugged in, they followed it. I told them exactly to blog daily. I told them to market daily. I told them to listen to personal development, to get on our mindset call that Paul does. we teach them exactly what Empower Network does. Some people ask for the secret. We just take daily action on the 8 core commitments. And some people are like, I actually had the email, tell me what to do, just don't tell me the 8 core commitments. I'm sure all of you have. And I was like, well, if you're asking that question, you're not going to succeed, But the bottom line is, I love what I do now. I was calculating our income for last month, and it's kind of hard because we actually formed a partnership, and we had a four-person partnership later, so we had to calculate 2 accounts or whatever. But we actually made $42,000 in Empower Network last month. And our life's never been better, but I really, truly love what I do. I love what I do. I do what I love with Empower Network, because we've been in a lot of things. We actually promote a lot of things. We have lots of different affiliate stuff, But the heart, the core of Empower Network, that is where my heart is at, because this year I realized in 2012, this is the first year. I've been full-time since 2007, quit our job in 2007. This year was the first year we ever had to write a check for our taxes. And I don't know about you, but some people think that's bad. But if you get a refund every year that you're in business, you're probably not making any money. So 2012 was our first year, and the only difference in 2012 than everything that we've done for 5-6 years, the only difference is Empower Network. The only difference. And I didn't tell them I wanted to do this, but Christy, can you bring the kids up and and bring little Luke too? I want to tell you a quick, bring him up. I saw Lawrence Tam do this, and I really want to do this. I want to tell a quick story about my wife and her dedication. I don't know how this is going to turn out now. But her dedication to this business, her dedication to us. Give him a hand. Even through all the hard times, even to losing our house, going in debt, not being able to pay anything off, she was there every step of the way. And one of the stories that can really reiterate why this is because there was one day that we were literally $500 for a name. She was 9 months pregnant with Owen, our 2.5-year-old son. She's 9.5 months pregnant. I didn't know how we were going to make the rent, or I didn't know how we're going to make the mortgage. And what happened was I planned a webinar, and I said, okay, I'm going to sell this Facebook product. It's just going to pay me PayPal. I need to do this webinar to pay our bills, to pay for our boy. And she was so determined, 30 minutes before the webinar, she literally went into contractions. She was ready to give birth to this wonderful baby boy. And we didn't have any money. No money. This webinar would pay us money. And I said, you know what, let's just forget the webinar. Let's go, we'll make it happen. She's like, no. We need to make this money. You do the webinar, I'll be fine. We did the webinar, made $750 or so, just enough to get us by. And then we went and had our boy, Owen. And I'm so proud that I have a supporting wife, someone that's there for me even through the hard times, all through the successes that we've had. You know, I missed a lot of my child's life. I missed probably 3 years of my daughter's life. I missed almost a year of Owen's life. I missed years of my wife's marriage. And because of Empower Network, because of our focus, because of this business, we will never miss another day of our kids' lives, especially our new kid, 6 months old. Thank you, everybody. I just want to say one last thing. My prosperity prospers all 5,000 of you. Your prosperity prospers us. Have a great night.